The Horn of Africa is an incredibly dynamic place. There's an enormous amount of entrepreneurial activity going on, based largely on the livestock production system. There's a huge array of innovations in the pastoral sector. The livestock trade, if you count all of the exchanges of livestock and movements across borders in this area, amounts to about $1 billion each year. And this is a phenomenal amount of money in a very, very poor part of the world.
Well, it's a region that really is fundamentally misunderstood. It's usually been in the news for the wrong reasons. Recent examples of that include the humanitarian crisis and regional drought in 2011, the recent warfare in southern Somalia as well, involving foreign militaries and US drone strikes. These often sort of feed an impression that the Horn of Africa is beset by a number of crises that are really insurmountable. What is important is to appreciate that there's a lot of new foreign investment in drylands of the Horn of Africa. There's a lot of new actors as well as old actors who are interested in the development of these areas that we haven't seen before. I think our challenge is that this is giving rise to a lot of new vulnerability as well as new wealth.
Pastoralism has survived different types of shocks over several millennia. Therefore, there's no point to, I don't think there's a need to think that it's going to collapse. But we also need to acknowledge that pastoralism has been facing a lot of pressure from around it, from conflicts, from state collapses around the region, from economic hardships, from variable weather patterns. Despite those pressures, pastoralism and livestock rearing, for that matter, is the most appropriate and most viable way of keeping the arid and semi-arid lands productive.
Some people are really able to make it, cashing in on these growing markets and commercializing, gaining access to international trade in livestock products. Some people are able to sustain a traditional nomadic livestock production system, a classic pastoralism setting. But that's increasingly challenged by land grabs, by climate change, by changes in environment and economy. And so people are also having to seek alternative livelihoods, ones often linked to the livestock economy, but linked to these growing towns, adding value to livestock products and making profits from a variety of different services. Meanwhile, there are those who are not able to make it, people who are exiting, people who are having to migrate elsewhere. And it's these trade-offs between these different pathways that we have to really think about in thinking forward about the policy issues that confront the Horn of Africa. And we argue in the book that we have to focus on the positive elements as well as the negative elements and think about what future pathways for pastoralism in Africa might be.